Hi, my name is Ivy, and I'm the blogger behind the WordPress blog Spouse Visa USA. In my blog, you can find a lot of very specific information regarding my process applying for my husband's spouse visa. This video is intended to give you an overall idea of what the process is like. To start, I want to make it clear that I'm not an immigration lawyer, I'm not a representative of USCIS or of the National Visa Center. I'm just someone who's been through this process and know how frustrating and daunting it can seem at times, and want to use my experience to help people who are in a similar situation. Just to give you an idea of my situation, I'm a US citizen by birth. My husband is a Spanish citizen, also by birth. We don't have any children or any previous marriages, so our case is pretty straightforward. It started in early February of 2014 when we sent our I-130 petition from Spain, where we're both based here in Barcelona, to USCIS in Chicago. Now, I say this on my blog. If I had to do it over again, I would have sent our I-130 petition to USCIS as soon as we got our marriage license. Now, there are a few things that you need to do in preparation for sending your I-130 petition to USCIS, and that's all in my blog under step 1. So what I would have done before the wedding and all of the stress and chaos of planning a wedding, I also would have prepared all of our I-130 forms and accompanying documents. And then as soon as we received our marriage license after the wedding, I would have sent that packet immediately to USCIS. In our case, we were married in December of 2013. In early February of 2014, I sent the I-130 to USCIS. February 27th, we received an e-notification that our petition had been accepted, which is different from approved. They just said, all the papers seem to be here and we have accepted this petition. 5 months later, on July 30th, we received another email notification that USCIS had approved our petition. Now, that ends the process with USCIS. You send them your petition, they accept it, they approve it about 5 months later, which is the national average according to their website, at least when we applied. And then they send that packet to the National Visa Center. So you're done with USCIS after they have approved your petition. In our case, our petition was approved on July 30th, and on September 10th, the National Visa Center sent us an email saying that they had received our petition from USCIS. And that same day, they gave us information in that email that we would later use every time that I called them, because you need to identify yourself with a number that they give you. That number also allows you to sign into their online system. So using some of the numbers that they gave us on that email, on September 10th, we chose an agent. We chose my dad because it's best to have someone who's based in the US since we're here in Spain. That same day, I tried to pay the $88 affidavit of support fee, but a glitch in the system wouldn't allow me to do that. So I paid it the next day on September 11th. Now, if I had to do it over again, as soon as I paid that affidavit of support fee on September 11th, I would have sent our financial and supporting documents to USCIS. As it turns out, I waited until October 17th, so over a month later, to send in the financial and supporting documents. So that's, over a month of time lost. On October 1st, we received another email from the National Visa Center that they had approved my dad as our agent, so they approved the form that we filled out to do that. and we were able to pay our $325 immigrant visa fee. Now, that's all done online. All of the fees are paid online with a US account in my case. It's easier if you use a US account, even if you're based in another country like we are. So after we paid the immigrant visa fee, the online system takes a couple days to process the fee, and then it'll notify you that you're able to start the immigrant visa application. In our case, we paid the immigrant visa fee on October 1st, and 2 days later, on October 3rd, we started the immigrant visa application. Now, I say on the blog that I took a little while to fill out the visa application. I started on October 3rd, and I didn't finish until October 27th. Again, if I had it to do over again, I would start and finish it the same day. It's not like an unbelievably long form. You can set aside a couple hours one day and just go through it quickly. Again, as I said before, on October 17th, we sent the National Visa Center our financial and supporting documents. Would have done that sooner had I known I was able to do that. That's another thing. The National Visa Center and the USCIS, their websites are very informative, and all of the steps are there that you need to know. But they're not, neither of those websites are designed to make this process as quick as possible. So if you want to move quickly with your spouse visa, I recommend asking a lot of questions, particularly to the National Visa Center hotline. And again, that number is on the website as well. And just being really aggressive about it and asking the customer service representatives, what would you recommend to me to speed this process along? Because the information is on the website, but some of the shortcuts are not. Okay, so we sent our financial and supporting documents on October 17th. As part of the financial and supporting document packet, which was like about this thick when I sent it in, all of the information of what needs to be included in that packet is on my blog. But one of the things that needs to be in that packet is police reports for your spouse of any country he or she has lived in for the past 5 years. Now, my spouse has lived in 3 different countries over the past 5 years, so we had to send in 3 different criminal reports. Now, it's good to keep in mind that, for instance, we're based in Spain. We had to apply for a criminal background check in Portugal. So that process takes about a month. We were able to get my husband's Spanish police certificate in a day. That didn't take any time at all. But when you apply from a different country, it takes about a month for that country to process it and for them to send it to you. So in our case, we applied for his Portuguese background check in early June of 2014. Then we had it physically in our hands in early mid-July of 2014. And then since I waited, because I was under the impression that I had to, I waited until October 17th to send in our financial and supporting documents. The Portuguese background check had expired because Portuguese background checks are only valid for 3 months. That wasn't the case with the Netherlands, and that wasn't the case with Spain. Those criminal background checks are valid for a year, but Portugal is different, apparently. So by the time I had to send the financial and supporting documents, the Portuguese criminal background check was already expired. So we then had to apply for a new one and then wait another month for it to come to Spain. And then in late October of 2014, I sent the updated Portuguese background check to the National Visa Center. Now, they say that every new piece of information or every new document that you send the National Visa Center, they have 60 days to process it. That wasn't necessarily the case with us, luckily, because I sent the updated criminal background check on October 29th, and on November 13th, we received an email that they had received the criminal background check. And 60 days, again, is what they said it should take for them to process all of our information. But actually, on December 18th, we received an email from them saying that they had reviewed all of our documents and that we had made a mistake. So the mistake that we had made was that on the affidavit of support form, in Part 6, Item 13, which asks for my total income, adjusted gross income on IRS Form 1040EZ, as reported on my federal tax returns for the most recent 3 years, and then it provides 3 places for you to report your total income. Now, I used the wrong line on my tax return to fill that out. It should have been line 22 on Form 1040. If you use another form to file your taxes, it'll be another line. But if you use Form 1040, it's line 22. In my case, since I've lived in Spain and worked in Spain for the last 3 years, line 22 for me was 0 because I haven't made any income in the United States. I accidentally put my total income earned in Spain, translated into dollars, and that's not what they were looking for. So on December 18th, we received that email that we had made that mistake. The next day, I printed out a new affidavit of support, filled it out exactly the same as I had the previous one. And a good tip is to, before you send any information to USCIS or the National Visa Center, is to take a scan of that document. I use an app that's on my phone. You can download it for free. There's a few different free scanning apps. And before I send any information, I take a scan of it. So that way I have a record of everything that I've sent them. So because I had scanned my original affidavit of support, I pulled that up. And on the new affidavit of support, I copied everything exactly the same, except for that Part 6, Item 13, I think it was, that I made the correction that they had asked for. On January 6th, we received an email from the National Visa Center that they had received our new affidavit of support. And again, they said it would be 60 days for them to process it, but it actually ended up being, just a little over a month, because on February 10th, our agent, my dad, received a phone call from the National Visa Center that all of our documents looked good, they were approved, and that my husband was in line for a visa interview. So as I said at the beginning of this video, that's where we are now. Everything has been approved by the National Visa Center, and we're currently waiting for a visa interview date in the embassy, the U.S. Embassy in Madrid. So I hope this video has been helpful. Again, I've been using information that is up on my blog, Spouse Visa USA. There you can also find very detailed information of what information you need to have for the USCIS, which is the organization that you deal with at the very beginning, and then for the National Visa Center. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below the video. Again, I'm not an attorney and I'm not any sort of representative for the government, but I have been through this process, and so if there's something that I can help you with, I would be happy to see if I could help. Thanks very much, and see you next time.